This should have been just a straightforward job. Replace my leaking radiator with this £60 one on my wee budget SEAT Ibiza. And for the most of it, I ran into zero issues. But the car's still leaking fluid. So today it's time to replace the radiator on my car with a shiny new one because my SEAT Ibiza decided to burst the radiator on the way to town one day. Now, if you're anything like me, a mechanic, basically someone that's like self-taught themselves, DIY mechanics over the years, whether watching YouTube videos or trying it yourself, you probably get a lot of friends or family that ask you for advice on their cars. And the other day, actually, someone came round to the house with their car, and it was a really good point, actually, I thought in my head after this, was they asked for advice, what the noise was. It was a rattling exhaust heat shield, I think it was. And they were like, oh, that's another bill for the garage and another payment for the car. But it wasn't costing them any monthly payments. It was an old car, and they were debating whether to buy a new car and obviously on PCP and do monthly payments. And it was then I was thinking, if you decide to pay for a car over the course of a year, PCP, say it's like $250. Over the course of the year, that's say £3,000 you've paid. Now, if you have got a second-hand car that's a few years old and you're not paying it off anymore, it's just a workhorse for the family or for yourself, then is the chance you're going to pay £3,000 on repairs over the course of that year for that car? I don't think so. Every time you get an MOT, sometimes, yeah, there's a reasonably sized payment for maybe a brake caliper or some brakes or some sort of other part in the car, like a ball joint. But if you think about it, the payment over the course of that year on that car for repairs isn't going to be anywhere near £3,000, and that's why I always think way up. Is it better off money-wise to basically keep the old car until it severely packs in? If the engine's on its last legs or there's holes in the bodywork, yes, that car now needs replaced. It's going to cost far too much to fix it. But if it's generally just spares and repairs across the course of the year to fix it up and keep it on the road, I still think it's going to come well under £3,000. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know down in the comments, because I kind of argue that myself now. Is like, why go into that payment plan for 3-4 years and a balloon payment at the end? A lot of money to pay towards a car, when if you have got a car that you know what you've replaced over the years, you know what it's been like known for failing on and stuff, and you kind of know what you've got, I would just continue to pay a little bit every so often to keep it roadworthy and look after that car rather than buying a fancy new car. And also, with the roads just now these days, it would break me to have a bad stone chip on the window, a stone chip on the bonnet, knackered fancy alloy wheels on a nice new car. So having an old car like this old SEAT Ibiza is kind of like the ideal time to own a car just now with the state of the roads. So yes, that brings us back to why I'm replacing the radiator today, a £60 radiator to keep this car on the road rather than taking it to the scrappy. Now, if I was a good YouTuber, I would have recorded the instance where this car failed on me out on the main road. It's going from Thurso to Wick. I had no more heat in the car. Just for some reason, the heat inside in the car just dipped straight away. Turned it right up on the heater fans and nothing came out. Then I saw the gauge gradually creep up on the dashboard, pulled over, and as soon as I pulled over, there was no more kind of air going through the bonnet of the car, and I started seeing the steam coming out of the bonnet. So, opened the bonnet, and there was a jet of steam coming out of this space here down the back of the radiator, meaning that it's just obviously corroded. It's 17 or 18 years old, this car, so it's probably original radiator, hence why it's now corroded and given way. Managed to get some containers of water, limped my way to Wick and then back to Thurso afterwards. And now it's sat in the garage ready to get replaced. Oh, and you may have noticed my breath was clearly visible there. That's because it was cold in this garage and even colder outside. If you weren't aware, this is the first time I've ever done a radiator on either car actually. I've never done a Cooper either, but I imagine normally it's held in this thing called, I think it's called a rad pack, and it's basically the air conditioning unit and the radiator behind it. Usually intercoolers as well on some big turbo cars, but the intercooler for this car, because it's a bit smaller, is down here at the side. So I imagine getting headlights out and then opening up this rad pack. Hopefully I can just disconnect the radiator there, maybe take a few of the bolts out here, loosen the air conditioning unit forward, and then can pull the radiator out the back once the hoses are off it. So let's give it a go. I'm going to take the bonnet catch off. I'll get this fan shroud off and leave that against the engine, then I should be able to get to the radiator and pull it up here. I think I always say this, but if you can get one of these quite cheap on Amazon, these are so handy for getting in tight spaces and doing that ratchet job that no one likes doing in tight confined spaces where there's not much movement. They just spin, obviously, on the spot, and it just saves so much time and effort. Why some things are 25s and some things are 27s and some things are 30 torques, it's just stupid. Give you a closer look. So yeah, it's just radiator now here on this side, air conditioning pipe going there, routing around the front, air conditioning pipe here, routing up, around and into here. Again, I don't want to disconnect this bit here because this will lose the seal on the air conditioning and let the gas out. Top pipe took off, bottom pipe is off down there. These are the connectors for the fans, which are taken off, and then this must be the temperature sender wiring here. So I'll grab this off here. And I think it's just a case of getting it off these clips. It must be released with the fixings here. Once I get that connector off the back, take these fixings off and fingers crossed, this comes out. And of course, I had to make a mess along the way. It wouldn't be a car DIY without making a lot of mess in the process. I hate these clips. Oh, that was actually quite easy. So that is a bag of leftover Christmas booze, and that is a rad pack frame or something. I don't know what you'd call that. And this is reasonably easily because it's just 2 screws either side to take off to disconnect the rad unit from the air conditioning unit, and then I'll put the new one on the back, and yeah, back together. This is going reasonably well. Or I've spoken too soon. So size-wise, they look exactly the same. A bit annoyed that I don't know if you can see that there, that banding stuff that comes around them went right over there and was squashing right on it in packaging. Wee bit annoying, but I don't think that's going to affect it too much. I think it's more so if the middle bits are kind of creased over, it stops the airflow going through it and cooling it, whereas this bit on the edge isn't going to affect it too badly, luckily. Let's get the old crusty one out of the way. I'll try and have a look to see if we can find the hole on the old one in a second. Oh, come on. Carefully slide this in here. Put this crusty screws back in.
All I want is all of you, baby, baby.
Oh yeah, before I forget, better get that temperature unit out of the old one. Gonna be a pain in the arse to get back in there if that's all back together. Can I do this one-handed like a hero? Oh, stand on. Oh, maybe not. She's tight. How do you do 2 hands? Hold on. Oh, I'm doing it tighter, that's why. Nugget. What an idiot. Get that wee clean. Get all that sludgy brown gunk off it. I'm guessing, I don't know if you can see that set up there. It goes that way up because the weight of the radiator sits on the two bits of rubber support at the bottom, because actually at the top you can see it's completely clear and loose, so you don't want to do, or maybe you do want it that way. Do you want it hanging? Hang on support? No, it's pretty, yeah, surely it sits down on that rubber and it just sits, yeah. I'll soon find out. So. Definitely 10 times easier if the air conditioning wasn't fighting with me. Try and get this side started so that it stays in place. Hey, bingo. Hands are pretty heavy, like. Those motors are hefty. Excuse my language. Damaging a new radiator already, man. And if you enjoy these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the thumbs up button as well. It's always appreciated. You dumbass, Kev. Good dumbass. Doesn't listen anymore. You've probably screamed at me several times now. Once for missing the washer jets bracket that I put on now, and then you've probably been shouting as I was doing that, you're probably shouting saying, Kev, you forgot the big crash bar that's been knocking behind me for the past 15 minutes. So yes, crash bar to go on as well. It's now time to refill the coolant system. So I don't know if you've seen these things on YouTube or Amazon. They're about £20, I think. I'll leave a link to this one that I got down below in the description if you want to get one. But supposedly it helps reduce the amount of air that gets put back in the system. So as you're pouring water in, it's also sucking air into the system and you get air locks. With this system, the way it works, I'm not sure how it works exactly, but it's meant to help reduce those air locks around the coolant system as you're topping it back up. You get a bunch of connectors in the bag with it, but you get a connection that's for your coolant bottle. You then put it in the top of there, it gives a nice tight seal. You have this tap on the side that opens and closes the valve there, and then I'll just fill that up with a standard pink G12 Plus VAG coolant here. Fill up to the neck, and then I'll go inside, run the car, run the heaters full blast as well, and hopefully that'll just get the whole system filled up with water, and that then the air will then come out here at the same time. I'll show you in the video, but you'll see the lots of air bubbles coming back out as the coolant's going into the system. So I was going to talk over the noise of the engine there, but it was far too noisy and rattly, as diesels are in these cars. Anyway, what I was going to say was that when you finish topping up with this thing here, you might find that the level is quite high inside the header tank bottle here. And that's fine, because just now in my car, the heaters aren't quite warm yet. They're still kind of like lukewarm, which means there's probably air pockets in the heater matrix and other parts of the engine as well. So when it actually gets driven out the road, that's when all those air pockets will get circulated and probably bleed through the system, and this tank here will start to drop in level pretty quickly. So when you are driving out the road first time, it's never straightforward on YouTube. It's just typical, absolute typical. The car's still leaking fluid. Cut the clip. Yeah, coolant pissing out that hose, not out the radiator, so the radiator wasn't broken at all. It's now sat there. I'm not putting it back on, obviously. I've got a new radiator, that'll just have to be on the car now. It's peace of mind. The radiator won't fail over the next few years, but that coolant hose is the culprit, and I need to find a replacement for that. Yeah, I'm not even bothered I've like spent 60 quid in a radiator. Like I said, it will be peace of mind for a good while, but I've got to track down this coolant hose, which going by online, it's not going to be easy because the exploded diagrams of that engine are showing a different oil cooler, and the coolant hose that comes out of that, a different angle compared to the one on my car. So yeah, it could be trial and error trying to get a few hoses up that might fit it. I could try and patch it, but it's never going to hold under pressure. They do go under a lot of pressure once they're up to temperature, so best to get a brand new hose altogether. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know, the car, which you can see in the background there, I'm looking at a reflection in the telly there, but the car in the background, the bumper off, yeah, just going to be off the road for a wee while longer until I get this coolant hose sorted out. And yeah, I'm no proper mechanic, as I always say. I'm just a guy that's kind of got more confidence working on his car in the garage, and this time I kind of messed up, to be honest, but these things happen. So update there, and if I do have the hose on the car and it's all ready to go before I finish editing this video and put it live on YouTube, I'll let you know at the very end. Cheers. When you are driving out the road first time, keep some coolant on you just in case, in the car as a backup, in case you get caught short, especially if you're doing a long distance as well. I'm not saying stop and pull over and fill up straight away, because when you remove that cap from the header tank bottle and the engine's roasting, that will spit steam and coolant at you straight away, so do let it cool down before you remove that cap. But yeah, top it up as you need to, and then you should find that after a couple of journeys you'll get to that level where it just sits perfectly between min and max the whole time, and there's no more need to top it up. So hopefully that's the last of the jobs on the Ibiza for the next wee while. Like I said, I don't mind putting a bit of money, like £60 into radiator in a bit of time to keep this car on the road. Still is better than £3 over the course of a year for PCP for me. Although my wife's car has PCP, so don't think I'm totally against that. I know it has to work in some circumstances, but in my case, I'm quite happy to drive the second-hand Ibiza and just put a bit of work in to keep it on the road. Again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments if you agree or disagree with that theory. Anyway, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe down below to catch more videos from the channel in future, which will probably be the subframe in that box there for the Leon, new suspension parts, new bolts, nuts, and a subframe to get the whole rear of the suspension and subframe completely changed over on the rear of the Leon. So that will come up very soon on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, catch you later. I took the damaged hose off the car, and when I cleaned it up, luckily the part number was still visible, so I typed this into Google, and there's a new hose coming in the post very soon.